the distance of New England. Royce believed that some epic opportunity had been given California, the chance to reconcile the culture of the Catholic South and the Protestant North. California had the chance to heal the 16th century tear of Europe. But the opportunity was lost. The Catholic, the Mexican impulse was pushed back, vanquished by comedy, a Protestant conquest. I use the word comedy here as the Greeks used it, with utmost seriousness, to suggest a world where youth is not a fruitless metaphor, where it is possible to start anew, where it is possible to escape the rivalries of the Capulets and the McCoys, where young women can disprove the adages of grandmothers. The comedy of California was constructed on a Protestant faith in individualism, whereas Mexico knew tragedy. My Mexican father, as his father before him, believed that old men know more than young men, that life will break your heart, that death, finally, is the vantage point from which a life must be seen. I think now that Mexico has been the happier place for being a country of tragedy. Tragic cultures serve up better food than optimistic cultures. Tragic cultures have sweeter children, more opulent funerals. In tragic cultures, one does not bear the solitary burden of optimism. California is such a sad place, really. A state where children run away from parents, a state of pale beer and young old women, and divorced husbands living alone in condos. But at a time when Californians are driven to despair by the relentless optimism of their state, I can only marvel at the comic achievement of the place, California's defiance of history, the defiance of ancestors. Something hopeful was created in California through the century of its Protestant settlement. People believed that in California they could begin new lives. New generations of immigrants continue to arrive in California, not a few of them from Mexico, hoping to cash in on comedy. It is still possible in California to change your name, change your sex, get a divorce, become a movie star. My Mexican parents live in a California house with 4 telephones, 3 televisions, and several empty bedrooms. How could California ever reconcile comedy and tragedy? How could there not have been a divorce between Mexico and California in the 19th century? The youth of my life was defined by Protestant optimism. Now that I am middle-aged, I incline more toward the Mexican point of view, though some part of me continues to resist the cynical conclusions of Mexico. Which leaves me with at least a literary problem to start with. How shall I present the argument between comedy and tragedy, this tension that describes my life? Shall I start with the boys' chapter, then move toward more mature, tragic conclusions? But that would underplay the boy's wisdom. The middle-aged man would simply lord over the matter. No, I will present this life in reverse. After all, the journey my parents took from Mexico to America was a journey from an ancient culture to a youthful one, backward in time. In their path I similarly move, if only to honor their passage to California, and because I believe the best resolution to the debate between comedy and tragedy is irresolution, since both sides can claim wisdom. Yesterday, around noontime, I recognized it. We were driving along the 2-lane Mexican highway, and there it was, just off to the right, past a grove of eucalyptus, the village of childhood imagining. The production assistant radioed the other cars in our caravan to follow. We turned down a muddy road. The village was constructed around a central square. Passage toward the center was narrow, just room enough for a van filled with our television equipment to pass. Most of the doors of the village were open. We saw few people about. Those few more curious than friendly, more Indian than mestizo. "This is perfect," I kept saying from the back seat. Perfect. I could imagine my father as a boy, dreaming of running away from just such a village. I could see my mother's paradise, she of the sausage curls.